In this lesson, we're going to learn about two of the most important functions in Python. And these two functions are the print function and the input function. For some time now, we'll be making use of the print function, but in this lesson, we're going to go a bit in depth. So what is the print function? What is the purpose of the print function? The print function is an inbuilt function that allows us to display outputs in the terminal. With the print function, we can be able to know what is happening in our program. So basically, this is how we use the print function. You write print followed by parentheses. Inside the print function, you can provide data which you want to output in the terminal. Just like we have 5, this is going to print out 5 in our terminal. If I want to introduce more values or more data, I can put a comma and put 6. So this is going to do 5 and 6 for me. If you notice, there is no comma here. So the real values we are printing is 5 and 6. So if I want to introduce another data or value, I'll simply put a comma here and I'll put 7. For each value I put inside of the print statement, I'm going to have a space separating that value and the previous value. If I have 8 here, we're going to have 5, 6, 7. After the 7, there's a space before the 8. But if you don't want these spaces to appear, there's a way to go about it, and we're going to learn that shortly. So this is basically how you output numbers in the terminal. Then apart from printing out numbers in the terminal, I can as well have something like print. And inside of this print, I'm going to have a string. I can have hello. And of course, this is going to show hello. And if I want to introduce more values there, I can say hello world. And now we have hello world. There's a space between the hello and the world. Then if we don't want this space between the hello and the world, or between the values, we're going to introduce something here which we'll call sep, S-E-P. And by default, we'll have a space there, one white space. So if you don't want the space between the values, you simply provide an empty string like this. This is just a pair of quotes without anything inside of it. Now, if I try to run this program, you can see that the space has disappeared. And the reason for this is because I introduced this argument. So if I want something else to show apart from space to separate the values, maybe I want to use a hyphen. I can put a hyphen here, and now you can see hello, then a hyphen and the world. So now let me have something like hello world, dear. You can see the values or the words are now being separated by hyphens. Now let me remove this, and if I run it again, it will go back to the way it used to be, the default way. It outputs item to the terminal, which is using spaces. Now let's try out something again. Let's have print maybe 100. Anytime I run a print statement, after displaying the items in the terminal, it is going to automatically move to the next line. So what happens is that, let's look at this. After displaying 5, 6, 7, and 8, it moves to the next line. Then this other second print statement executes, moves to the next line before this third print statement executes. But if you don't want it to behave like this, you can have another argument. Let's say here we'll have end is equal to, you can just put a space. This other print statement is going to execute in the same line as the previous print statement, separated by a white space like this. So let's try this out. And here you can see we have hello dear, and there's a space before 100. Maybe I can introduce more spaces to make it more obvious. So this time around, you can see we have hello world dear and the spaces before 100. Without this end argument, the subsequent print statement would have executed in a new line. But because we have this print statement is going to execute in the same line as this other one, separated by these long white spaces. Now let's provide more example. So here I have print, I can have orange. And here I have print, I'll have apple. And here I'll have print, and we'll have grape. Of course, each of the print statements are going to display the outputs in a new line. So we have orange, apple, and grape. Now I want this apple to be on the same line with orange. What I'll do is that I'm going to put a space here and put end equal to, then I'll just provide a white space like this. And now you can see that orange and apple are in the same line. If I want to move this grape to the same line, after this print apple, I'm going to introduce end is equal to, then I'll put just a space. And now we have orange, apple, and grape in the same line. But if I go ahead and put another print here, maybe print 100, it is going to display in a new line. And the reason for this is because the end argument here is still at the default. It is going to push it to the next line. So if I want to bring 100 up, I'm going to have end, then I'll put a white space. This way, the 100 will be in the same line as the rest. Now let's look at the input function. The input function allows us to receive information or receive data in the terminal. It allows us to get information or data from the user through the terminal or console. And this is how the input function works. Let's say we want to get some data from the user through the console. I can have value is equal to input, just like this. So let me run this program. I'm going to be using the terminal. So here I'm going to have Python print input.py. That's the name of the script. And I'm going to provide hello. So it seems like nothing happened. And the reason for this is because we only got an input from the user. We did not print it out. So I can go here and say print value. So let's run the program again. And here I'm going to put 100 and hit enter. It displayed 100. But there's something you will notice. Whenever I run the program, you don't even know that you are being prompted to provide a value. And the reason for this is that we do not provide a description inside of the input function. So to make this program more interactive, inside of the input function, I'm going to have please enter a value and run the program again. So let me just complete this. And I'll enter a value. So now I'm going to run the program. Please enter a value. I can have 100. And then it prints for me 100, which is good. Let's run it again. Please enter a value. And if you notice, the prompt, the cursor where it's expecting you to provide the value is very close to the colon. Here I'm going to put an additional space. And I will run the program again. So now it's looking better. So I can put 100 and hit enter. So right now we have 100. Then if you look at the 100, it just appeared from nowhere, no description at all. So inside of the print statement, I can have maybe a string like this, put a comma. I can have you entered, and then this is going to be the value that you entered. So let's save this and run it again. Please enter a value. I'll enter 100. So now we have you entered 100. Interesting. So this is basically how you use the print and the input function.